Hello. Hopefully everybody can hear me here. So yeah, this is the welcome to the Clash of the Titans. This is the first game of five of the two best players in the world are going to be playing. I'm Matthew, your commentator today. So yeah, as you've probably noticed, this is a pretty unique starting position. It's starting from blue 50. It's supposed to be an even game. Um, and yeah, I think let's just start analyzing some of the positions. I just want to give a bit of a heads up in that if you look at the eval bar here, it says black's up 1.5 points, but in reality, actually white's up half a point because we had a little bug with the captures for this, but it should only be for this game. So anyways, let's take a look at kind of this board state and talk a little bit about it. So I think the first thing that comes to mind for me, at least, is this capture. So I presume that white should probably fix here. And then, of course, there's this crosscut to deal with. So normally with crosscuts, I like to think about extending on any of the sides, right? So I would be considering this one, this one, this one, this one. You can, of course, Atari as well. I think there's actually a lot of different choices. Um, but I would imagine that probably white's not going to have a good time living here, but there's quite a bit of Aji to exploit for later. So I feel like it's a matter of trying to figure out exactly how to handle this, but it's not easy. Not an easy position to deal with on this side of the board for white. On the flip side, if you look at the top side here, right, also you might think as black, oh, I want to fix this because yes, if you do this over here and then you extend, for example, now if white goes here, then all of a sudden these black stones here are not in a great spot, right? Um, so yeah, that to me seems to be the kind of two contentious areas. If we look at the other parts of the board, I would say, uh, yeah, things seem to be in a pretty interesting spot right now. So we'll have to see what the players decide to do. So yeah, there's about 10 seconds left. I'm gonna reset this all, and then let's see where they play. Hopefully, Shin Jinseo knows that it's his move. But I guess we'll find out if he's still having some trouble. Or maybe I'm missing something. Let me just refresh really quick. Okay, so he ended up making his move. Great. That's good. First time doing this, always a little bit stressful. But seems like it's working. So um, yeah. All right. So now hopefully Ding Hao also knows. Great. Okay, so the game started. So yeah, things are gonna go pretty quickly. Let's just try to figure out exactly what's happening here. So black does choose to extend here. So I feel like now if white wants to go over here, that'd be my kind of first instinct. Seems like a pretty good move. The AI doesn't really like it, but also locally, maybe there's some moves that he can play around this part of the board that might be interesting. But I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to approach this. Maybe the idea is to play lightly and sacrifice. Yeah, I'm not too sure. So sometimes I think it's good to turn on this evaluation and figure out what to do. Um, Man, that cut I don't think is very human. I at least wouldn't think about it. So let's see what he does, but he plays it, of course. That's why they're the best players in the world, and I'm not. Um, okay, yeah, interesting. So now I think he's trying to exploit to see if there's some Aji here. I see, he didn't want to give this up. Yeah. Okay, so now if white wants to, they can take over here, but yeah, personally, it seems kind of slow and small. He probably just wanted to play it to get some of the Aji out. Um, so let's see how things proceed from here. Okay, so he does Tanuki. I mean, yeah, playing pretty well so far, Ding Hao. Um, Yeah, no real issues I'm seeing. So seems like he's doing pretty well here. Okay, the Hane, pretty typical sequence. So here now, oftentimes you'll see white do something like this, and then maybe come out, or perhaps even try to start this ko, because it's a pretty light ko for white, in that there's a lot of black stones in the area. So white is okay with playing like this, and black has to respond, and so it ends up being something like this. That would be a pretty good result for white. There's also the crosscut, which I was going to mention afterwards, which is a pretty interesting move as well. So now it's a bit more interesting. I think again with any crosscut, you can always try to think about extending on both sides, but in this case, I think if white ends up getting the corner like this, it's pretty satisfactory. So it wouldn't be too bad at all. So instead, he goes here, and then this way, if white proceeds like this, I'd say white is pretty close to being alive already. But maybe black is okay with that result. Seems like yeah, I'm having a hard time getting the right variations. So it ends up like this. Interesting. So now will white start the ko or not? That's kind of the big question. If it ends something like this, I would say yeah, probably can be pretty expected in this situation. Interesting. Okay. So now if white chooses to, fix over here like this, then black is probably going to hane here, look to separate and cash in maybe. No. Maybe this move's better? I must be missing a... Yeah, okay, yes. Yeah, that one I think white can just push through. So not the best result. So now white's thinking here. Takes... Oh yeah, so there's this prediction game. I personally find it pretty fun. You can try to guess if this is the top AI move. I'd say that's pretty easy in this case. So I'm going to go with double yes. Oh, surprisingly isn't the top AI move. Well, anyways, just something a little fun to keep you guys engaged. Um, throughout this. So, okay, takes, and then he attaches here. Interesting. That to me doesn't feel right. I mean, I think generally speaking, since we have two stones here next to each other, they're a bit stronger. So I would just take the ko. White's probably going to hane on top and really try to get these stones. Seems like that's probably the idea. So if takes, I'm assuming white's going to go here and then something like that. And then say, yeah, if you want to cut me, then we can have this fight. Maybe something like this. Um, But yeah, let's see. I mean, he's taking his time. It's a pretty important moment. I would definitely take the ko, at least instinctively. But I'm not sure what he's going to do. Okay, so he does take the ko, using up all of his time as much as he can, at least, which is good. Okay, so then white haunting on the bottom, actually. So now he's probably going to extend and be okay with giving up this stone as a result of that. So actually, this game, it's interesting, but it seems like a lot of things have settled down pretty quickly, right? You start to see like this territory forming. He does extend, which seems to AI seems to think is a big mistake, which is surprising because I think to me it was the natural move. Oh, it wanted this. Yeah, that's a really interesting move. It's very hard to see, but that takes away all the Aji. So when he goes here, Black immediately cuts and gets rid of that Aji afterwards. So now we're ending up in this type of position, which, yeah, wow, it feels like Black has a lot of solid points, right? It's hard for white to do anything here, whereas this part of the board is still pretty open. So he does play kind of a ceiling move, which I think makes sense. But yeah, generally speaking, there's just a lot of Aji here. Like if you just play any moves in this area of the board, it's always going to impact this. Like something like this is kind of dual purpose, where you try to stop the connection from happening, right, by playing two, and then three allows black to seal and try to get all these points down here. So it looks pretty good, but it's a bit hard to do. So okay, black goes here instead of it deeper. White jumps. Now I think black probably is just going to pull back here because the white eventually does have to come back and fix, right? So once white fixes here, now black wants to make the points again. Is in a pretty good spot. And then as you can see, right, also you have to think a little bit about the time pressure, right? Because now white is at very little time. I don't know what was happening there. It seems like it went down to 0, but it's up to 14 now. So hopefully not an issue. Okay, prediction game coming up again. Okay. Oops, I didn't really have the time to do this. Comes pretty quickly, as the game also moves pretty quick. Okay, so what did we miss? So jumped, and then he did this. Okay, so it seems like white's trying to break in a little bit and black's trying to break in, but now, yeah, well, black's up 7 points. Seems like black's doing pretty well at this point. Because, yeah, if you just push and cut, it's not going to work too well. Right? If we go back and look at this sequence, yes, white can capture a stone, but then black links everything up at once, right? So it's a pretty nice sequence. So white jumps in instead, and then black fixes. So it's a very solid move. Now there's really not much Aji going on down here. Plays this move, which is interesting. I would think that this move just stops it right away, but it does give a little bit of Aji. And so maybe black doesn't want to do that. But if black just takes, then there actually is quite a bit more Aji down here. So it's a bit of a tricky move. And a nice little probing move. It's very high level though. So yeah, kind of hard to see. And of course, if you just end up Tanuki and going somewhere else, then this ends up happening, and there's at least a Coda back come back into the game. So that's also not really an ideal situation to play in. So he does just block, which I think is a pretty typical move here. Now white is kind of in trouble. I don't really see like a super clear move for him. So he plays a time Suji to Atari first, and he presses across. Okay, this actually is pretty nice. Because now if let's say black just continue to go here, now if white goes here, then actually this whole group is not really connected, and can be really attacked. So um, yeah, so black actually ends up deciding to forego a little bit of the points down here to try to solidify himself. So I think this game, it's pretty clear right now what needs to happen. Um, Black really needs to live here, and if black lives, I think he wins. And if white lives, or sorry, if white kills this, then they win, right? So it's pretty straightforward. There's another possibility where if white gets a bunch of stones, like in this part of the board, like this, then could potentially make a lot of points here. But there's a lot of holes, right? So it's a bit hard to see that happening right away. So yeah, it still seems kind of like a tough situation, but I think white's holding the gel together pretty well here. Um, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So very aggressive cut here. I don't know if that's the top move though, but I'm going to say yes and see what happens. Yeah, okay. So this is not the top move because now this is complicated. I wonder what happens if white tries to reverse cut here. I'm not really sure what the sequence would look like, but it looks really complicated. He takes the ko, which seems like a time Suji. Okay, so black probably should just fix here. And then white gained a little bit of time to try to continue with this. Oh, wow. He just decided to say, no, I don't want it. That's pretty insane because, especially with low time, to do that is really surprising. So that's big points wise. Okay, so now white takes. Now, presumably black's going to go here, but now actually, if he decide to give that up, he's just going to take the center. So a huge swing all of a sudden. It's hard to evaluate this stuff, but I mean, one thing I think Shin Jinseo does super well is he just applies so much pressure on the time, right? Like you can see Ding Hao's constantly at milliseconds, and white, is and black always has a minute. So I think he's really good at evaluating these positions because remember he took about 30 seconds at the beginning of the game to really think, and then he's been just applying the pressure the entire time. And now all of a sudden, this thickness in the center is becoming a target for attack. So now white's going to need to run out somewhere over here, right? And then um, black's going to keep the pressure up, and if white keeps running, then this top group is going to start getting weak as well. So now, yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of pressure applied here. So it's going to be interesting to see how black decides to play this. Of course, white can still cut this at any point, so I feel like maybe coming back here at some point is not a bad idea either. But he does choose to keep extending because yes, if white takes this now, I think these stones here would probably just die. So need to be a bit careful about that. So he does just keep pushing. I think at some point I would say it's probably correct to come back here and just fix here. Yeah. So it does seem to see it does seem to be that way. Okay. So black pushed, white jumped. Okay, so now I think yes, it's probably time to come fix. After fixing, I imagine white's also going to fix here, and then maybe it's going to go into an endgame, but it feels like black's doing pretty well. Right, still retained most of their points down here, and then broke a lot of the center, right? Because we were talking about where white could get points in the center, and now it's not looking so clear where those points are. He jumps here, which is another aggressive move, saying again, if you go here, I'm just going to capture you again. So really applying a lot of pressure here. So white, again, needs to respond. But now I think that's probably it, right? I don't really see any other moves. Okay, so he again plays here. Now I imagine white's just going to fix in one of these two ways, either jumping or fixing. Probably just fixing immediately. Yeah. But that does give up this peep, which is annoying. Because now if white goes here, then later on black can capture these two stones. It's not good right now, it's too small. But yeah, I think it's a nice annoying move to deal with. So I think white's gonna have to just fix here. Oh wow, he actually plays somewhere else, which doesn't even seem to be that bad. Um, it's a big move. I think what he's trying to do is to apply pressure. So let's say we cut here, then white might try to do something like this and just try to kill this. And I don't know if that's going to work, but that does seem to be the idea here. So black does just fix. So now if white pushes like this, yeah, it still looks pretty good though. I mean, I guess like this, maybe black can always just connect out, so it's not too big of a deal. So white ends up fixing over here instead, which is big points wise, but then I feel like is just inviting this, which is pretty big. So I wonder if black will just take it. Yes, so black does just take it, pushes down over here. Okay, so I mean, black is just up about 8 points. It seems like a pretty solid game. Okay, so I would say yes to both of these. I think that should be pretty obvious for this one. Somehow I'm wrong again. That's fine. I'd say this one's definitely true. Okay, so Tari's. Okay, so now if yeah, I guess it's hard for white to end up in Sente here because, or sorry, for black to end up in Sente here. But now I don't really know where white would play. Oh, it decides to fix in the center. Yeah, maybe there was some sort of cut problem. I see. The peep was an issue. So let's say white goes somewhere else. If we peep here, then maybe it starts to become a little dangerous. Because now there's two cuts to worry about, right? Like this one and this one are both issues. So he fixes here, but now it just feels like black is in control. I mean, he's just very sharp. He's not trying to, like, what these top guys do really well is they just continue to apply the pressure the entire game. Um, okay, see a little bit of lag for us, but that's fine. But yeah, this move's really sharp. Like, I think oftentimes you might think, okay, let's just enter the end game, where are the big end game moves? But he's trying to attack still, right? He's looking to play this push through. Well, actually, if white fixes here, then he's maybe looking to play something like this and just split it off. It doesn't quite work in this case, but that is kind of the risk. And if white just fixes, right, then black ends up getting a lot of points over here. So um, white really tries something over here instead to try to gain some points back. But yeah, he still has to fix at the end of the day. So black basically just extends, and he gets what he came for, right? He wanted these points in the center, and he can still extend, and then there's some good endgame here as well. So it's a tough situation, but actually, wow, he's going to extend in, which is super aggressive. Again, requires very precise reading, because my first instinct is, look, black's cut off, but actually because black is so thick over here, white can't actually gain an extra liberty. So it's looking like black is just going to win this. So the only way he can play further is probably to go here, in which case, I guess, where's black going to go here? But this way he dies, maybe? I'm not sure. It's quite complicated. Yeah, I haven't been able to read it out myself, but let's see. Oh, he just fixes like that. That's the easy way, yes. Just take that away. Now, they fix liberties. It's just 3 versus 3. If you fix here, it's 4 versus 4. So black can just fix the liberties. So white got some good endgame here, but black got all of these points. So now it's looking, I think that was kind of the last place that was possible for white to make a comeback. After this, it looks nearly impossible to come back because there's not much left in this game, right? If you think about it, there's just a little bit of endgame here, a little bit of endgame up here. Yeah, there's really not much left at this point. So I think this is a win for Shin Jinseo for the first game. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward one. I felt like if you look at this graph down here, he's been consistently gaining points since the beginning, and he's had a really big lead on the clock the whole time. So I think that's probably the way to do this. I mean, this is both their first time doing this. So it's a bit tricky to navigate and figure out, but from what I can tell, the strategy seems to be you want to really put pressure on your opponent's clock early. Because you can see he's up to 3 minutes. Or Ding Hao is consistently dancing the timeout border, right? So it's very tricky for him in this game. So yeah, I think it's Shin Jinseo has kind of figured that out. So we'll see what happens next game if he can bounce back. But he's been quite precise and played a good game. So that's another time Suji. Black just needs to fill the liberties properly here, and there shouldn't be any issues. I think Ding Hao's maybe trying to count and figure out if he still has a chance in this game. It's difficult, especially when he's on seconds the entire game to not only play well but to have a good assessment of the board state. So I expect M1 here. But honestly, any move here works. I think even this one would be fine. So he does play this one. So now Black has two eyes down here and can always just connect back anyways, even without it. So it seems like a pretty solid one. So yeah, that was pretty straightforward. We'll just wait for the rest of this game to finish, and then we'll see how the second game goes after this. Oops, I'm not on live. There we go. Okay, yeah, so I'm guessing that maybe Shin Jinseo might have a good count on the game, but Ding Hao I think is probably isn't able to count super accurately at this point. Um, so we'll have to see what the players think about this format. Maybe some ideas I have personally is maybe we can give them a bit more time to evaluate the position because that also gives them a chance to um, count right the board state, which is something that would help them at this point, right? Because if they had an accurate count at the beginning, then they can just kind of piece together the missing parts for the remainder of the game. But without that, I think especially on time pressure and in a tough situation, it's hard to evaluate that properly. So, anyways, the rest of the end game, I mean, it's always good to think about, but these kind of double sente moves are really big. So I wouldn't be surprised if he plays this. That seems to me like the biggest move. Um, there's also always a bit of Aji with these types of situations. It doesn't really hurt to play these moves as well because, right, if your opponent blunders like this, that's always a positive, and if it doesn't work, well, um, then it's completely fine because it's not like you lost any points in the process. But of course, you have to be kind of diligent in figuring it out. So he does play this one. Yeah, so I think if white blocks, then black can take centate. There's a couple of things left. I mean, I'd say this one's relatively big. So he does play it. Okay, that makes sense. It's pretty simple. So white's going to connect. And then, yeah, I mean, there's not much left at this point. Uh, Usually these middle areas, though, I would say you don't really want to um, focus your attention on because it looks like there's a lot of empty space here, but usually there's actually not very many points at all. So that's just something to keep in mind here. He plays this one, which is interesting. I mean, I would think maybe I should just cut here, but the AI didn't actually seem to move that much, which is interesting. So maybe taking this is actually pretty big. So that's interesting. I mean, I would have thought this is, I mean, if you just look at it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 point Gote, but I guess this is also pretty big here. So yeah, that's something I learned. I didn't really realize that until you played it. So yeah, connects. Then I think definitely intermediate players would think about connecting here, but you always have to ask yourself, what are you actually gaining when you connect here? Because if you do this, actually, I think it's going to be Gote. So you're just going to lose points. You can see you've lost 2 points from doing this. So it's good not to always just play the kind of automatic moves, right? You always have to think a little bit. And if I were white here in a kind of different game, I would try to play this and see if I can trick my opponent. So he does play it because if you play something like this, then this cut looks like it works, and maybe there's some danger here. Oh, but I guess these stones are already dead, so maybe there's actually nothing left anymore. Unfortunately, I was thinking that if these weren't an Atari, so completely missed that. But yeah, okay. So then the rest is just endgame. This is we'll probably just fix here. It's 3 points. Not really seeing much else at this point. Extended, connected. Maybe Shin Jinseo is counting at this point. Goes there. Okay. Seems pretty straightforward. So do remember that this is off a little bit, because like I mentioned, we had a little bit of an issue. So black is actually only up 10 points or 11 points, not 13. So just keep that in mind. But it is, I think, more than enough at this point to win. So the rest is just endgame after this. So there's not much left. Black just needs to make sure they don't make a big blunder. I mean, I would say this one, this one, this one, this one. These are all free moves. So I wouldn't be surprised if he picks any of those. It's also somewhat big to fix against these, right? This is the reverse sente type of move. It's reverse sente 1 point. So it's the same thing as 2 point gote. And then, but these are all like 1 point sente, right? Like this is 1 point sente, 1 point sente, 1 point sente. And yeah, I mean, this one is a bit harder to calculate because you'd think it's only 1 point gote, but it's because let's say white goes somewhere else, right? Let's say white fixes here. Now, if I do this, I can force you to connect like that. So I've actually made an extra 1.5 points here as well. So that is why that's a good move. So another time Suji. So black just needs to fix properly here. Um, yeah. So maybe we'll see this finish in a count. But either way, yeah, it should be close to being done. So white takes that. That is 3 point gote, which also is not small by any means. So now we'll see if black tries to activate some of this aji here, like I was saying, to get an extra couple points here. But yeah, I mean, there's generally just a little bit of things left, and then the game should be over. Okay, so he goes here, which is, yeah, like I was saying, this is basically the same idea, except it doesn't push first. So if white tries to push in here, then it's all gonna die. Okay, so it seems like the game ended. I'm going to go talk to the players, and then I'll be back. All right. We are back for position two. Let me just turn this on and start looking at it. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, again, kind of a chaotic situation, which is what we've kind of planned, obviously, for this tournament. So as you can see over here, I mean, these black stones aren't quite alive yet. At least there's a ko here, right? That needs to be settled. So I think that's probably the first thing that needs to be figured out. Um, and then, yeah, I would say outside of that, it is relatively straightforward. But you can see how if we look at the rest of the board, you can kind of tell who's supposed to be better positionally over here if the game's even. Because if you just count the stones, right, black has 3 stones here, so kind of a 4-on-1 situation down here. And then over here, if you just separate this part of the board, it's kind of another 4-on-3. Of course, these 2 stones are a bit closer over here, but for it to be even, right, you have to kind of ask yourself, well, why is it even? And what about it makes it even, right? And so that means that white needs to get some sort of satisfactory result. I don't think it'd be enough really just to, take the outside, for example, and give black this corner, because that's a pretty big corner. And of course, we do have to think about that there are these 2 stones in this corner as well, so I think that is what makes it even. Okay, so there's about 20 seconds left. We can start to look at some of these different positions, but you can see with the AI over here, most of them, yeah, wow, S18 is the key move here. That's something that's good to know for kind of a Tsuji moving forward. You can also extend and then connect. You can also just connect right away and then take the corner, and then white will end up taking the center. So yeah, that seems to be kind of what this position is calling for. So he does just end up connecting, which I think is a pretty typical move here. It does make sense to me. And so we're underway. So now it's kind of white has to figure out what to do. It's either do I want to attack these stones here, or do I want to fix my cut over here? I'd say he probably is going to fix his cut. It's going to go look something like this, and then there's going to be some sort of fight. So now these stones are kind of weak. These stones are kind of weak. So you can kind of start to create some complications in various parts of the board. So let's see what he does. So he fixes like that, which is the same thing essentially. I think he's wanting to get Sente here and saying, okay, yes, I want to somehow be able to capture these stones potentially. And thinking about how to be a bit more aggressive with the first move on this side. Maybe this isn't the right sequence. Maybe he's Atari first. I'm not too sure. But some sort of attack here. So he ends up doing the knight's move, black connects, and then white jumps. So now if black jumps out, I think white can continue to apply some of the pressure onto this group. So that seems like how it's going to play out. But of course, do have to be a little bit aware that there are these cuts. Of course, it's not going to work right now. But like later on, potentially can create some complications with this sequence. So that is something to keep in mind. There are always some weaknesses here and there. So black actually plays that move first, which is yeah, I see. So he needed to fix over here. Wow, amazing that he found that so quickly. Because yes, this is not the easiest of moves to see. But I guess for the top pros, it's just not that difficult. I don't know. This to me seems like a double no. I'd be pretty surprised if both of these are higher than 30%. Yeah, it seems like I would think it's a pretty human move, but it's not that common in this position. So I think it makes sense that he played it. Okay, so now it's really up to black. Does he want to continue playing over here? Which is, wow, it's funny he played it right when I clicked on it. I was going to say that, or the other option would be to, of course, like I said earlier, jump this out. But I think he's thinking that there's not that much value in these 4 stones, because white still needs to surround it, and it's going to be difficult for black to get much out of it, so he's probably just going to sacrifice it. So white takes a base here, also attacking this. Um, Black covers on top. I imagine white's probably going to play something like this to try to separate. And if black continues to do this, right, these white stones are probably going to capture those black stones on the top. So has to be a little bit careful. He attaches, which is kind of a more aggressive version of what I was thinking about earlier. Now black goes over here, which is Sente, right? So if black, if white chooses to play over here, then these stones are going to be in a lot of trouble. So white probably needs to respond here. It's a matter of if he wants to Hane or not. Right, Hane has this cut problem, right? So if black goes over here, white goes here. And now that's not really a good spot to be in because you have kind of 2 problems you have to deal with over here. So what does he do? You can also do that, or you can pull back. Okay, so now black does 2-space jump, which I think is a pretty normal move here. Again, it's aiming for this move that I've talked about. So again, if white goes here, oops. Now if black does this move, I think it's actually pretty strong. Can just conceal it off and would not be a bad result for black at all. So that's probably what he's aiming for. Now the question is, what will white do? I don't really think white's going to make like a really slow move. Like you kind of want to fix against this. So you might think, oh, I need to actually jump here. But that doesn't actually solve the issue too much. And there's still Aja here later. So I do like black's move, L11 here. It's a good move. But white did just end up jumping. But you have to remember that there's still Aja here, right? So don't want to forget that. Of course, this is not a good result locally because these stones are just going to die. But if they had run out already, then it would not be an issue. So black ends up playing this Hane, which I think is, yeah, very important move. Now where's white going to go? Extend, extend. Okay. Just, yeah, like I said, I mean, it's become a very bloody game right away. Um, yeah. Oh, it seems like my cameras are flipped. Just give me a second. I will go fix that. Um, sorry about that. Now there's two of them. Just give me a second. So after this loads, it should be correct now. Okay, great. Yeah. Hopefully, everything's back to normal now. Just let me know if it isn't. All right, sorry. Let's see what I missed here. So he cuts and then connects. Yeah, wow. Very, very complicated already. Looks like black is getting cut off here, but white's shape is not too great here. If he has to fix like this, then I think black's just going to push through and maybe it's going to be complicated. Oh, I don't even know what the right answer is. Maybe here? Listen to that? I don't know. I don't actually see it right away, so let me turn on the top AI moves. Wow, there's only one move and it's this wedge. That's kind of a crazy move though. I don't know if I mean, they're probably capable of seeing it. I'm certainly not. So he cuts instead. Black Ataris. Yeah, this doesn't look too great for white. As you can see, this game actually, white's time is kind of ticking down quite a bit. Oh, but it seems like he missed the move. It's probably still the wedge, isn't it? Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. I mean, sometimes the AI sees these crazy sequences, like I didn't see it, they didn't see it. So it ends up just being pretty even, but that's a pretty crazy move. Yeah, I would say if they had time, they could certainly find it. In Blitz, it's going to be very difficult. That's why it's good to have these toggles on. Okay, so now their time's about even again. So now the question is, what does black do here? My first instinct is maybe something like this. You want to just make white try to capture this in some way, like this, and then you capture here. And maybe that's a pretty good result, but it's hard to say. I mean, I don't really see that great of a move. Otherwise, it would just be take. That seems kind of like the normal move in this case. But then white can Atari here, and then it becomes not so clear. So I'd be pretty surprised if he just takes. He does just take though, which is yeah. I feel like it's a little bit passive. I feel like there's a lot of possible moves here. Even here, maybe he can still play this, but he's probably just gonna have to end up connecting. So he plays a time Suji here, so white's gonna fix, and then afterwards he'll probably just connect, is my guess. Oh yeah, see, it still says this Hane. I think the Hane is the right move. Um, yeah, this one, yeah, as you can see, this is the only move here. So I do feel like he needs to be a bit more aggressive, but White's really taking his time. He's just going to sacrifice it. That's crazy. Yeah, they're just insanely good at this game. So now Black's going to go here. Now White needs to fix, right? Otherwise, just gets captured. So gotta remember that if you just went here, all of this just completely game over right away. So I would say it's pretty clear that it's going to be the top AI. So I'm just going to skip that. So it ends up like this. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy that they can just figure that out on the spot with so little time. It's really impressive to me. They're able to do that. So then, yeah, I mean, I think this is big. Like, I'd be thinking about playing there. He plays this one, which I think is also big. But yeah, I would play this one. I mean, I feel like this move really just applies a lot of pressure here right away. So now black can just fix. I mean, if black just jumps here, I feel like black's in a pretty good spot. As long as, these stones don't die here, I feel like he's kind of out of danger, and then we'll probably see an end game like this. So it's a pretty close game like that. Um, yeah, I could play this too and threaten to play that. So yeah, it's a really interesting board state. Again, have to kind of think about what it all started off with because I mean we're back at parity. So this is probably going to be the sequence that I talked about. Black's going to connect. We're sure that one's also okay. And then white's going to go here. I mean, I think that's a pretty obvious top AI move. I'd be pretty surprised if you can go anywhere else. The only one would be maybe this Hane here. So he goes there, and then now this is another tricky spot. You have to ask yourself, how big is this on the top? Because, right, if white goes somewhere else, black can, oops, they already played pretty quickly, right? White can do something like this, and um, maybe that's not too bad. So always have to ask yourself if there's some sort of move that's being missed. He does this one first, trying to get this connection. Then I think he's going to just leave it, and then probably just extend over here. Break some of these points here. There's a lot of big spots though. It could play a lot of moves everywhere. There's a bunch of different places left. So this game's close. I mean, this one's definitely much more competitive than the first one. The time's about the same. He's playing some time Sujis here, right? These are just good end game moves as well. Right, trying to threaten this cut over here. So yeah, now he's got to figure it out. I mean, this is the part of the game where it's very difficult to evaluate because it was pretty different board state from where we started, right? So it's gonna be interesting. So plays this one, which is nice, basically saying if you do something like this, I'm just gonna take my corner, and then I have some Aji here later as well. Oh, that's not great. We'll have to give us a second. We're gonna restart the game here. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. I know this happened last time as well, so we'll try to do better next time, but it's just that, yeah, way too many people, more than we expected by a lot, so it's just causing our servers to crash. But yeah, we'll need to be better next time about it. But hopefully it is stable now. As you can see, the game is continuing. Um, so again, I apologize for the issues that we've caused. Um, yeah, but let's keep going with this game now. Okay, so that wasn't too great. I saw Black down to 8 seconds. Now he's up to 26 seconds. Um, Let me just check. Well, we'll see, I guess. If he times out again, we'll have to go fix it. But yeah, there was a large delay there, so I wouldn't be that surprised. Yeah, it's not looking good. I may have to take a break again. Hopefully, people can hear me. Sorry, we've had so many issues. I'm yeah, genuinely very sorry about this. We will try to proceed here is the plan with this game, and if it works, great. If not, then we'll probably just have to call it here and try to fix these issues if there is a next time. So, but we'll see. We'll try our best to make it smooth, hopefully through the rest of this tournament. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's hard to say at this point. I wouldn't be super confident about it. So yeah, let's see what happens. So with that in mind, I will try to provide analysis as best as I can. So I'm going to go back a little bit because yes, I know you guys want to get caught up, but I want to talk a little bit about the beginning board state, just to give you a sense of kind of what's happening. So I think this is an interesting board state because black has a lot of like black has weak groups, white has weak groups right here and here. So it'll really come down to how well they handle the weaknesses that they have respectfully. So this weak group has kind of connected back over here. Um, so they've actually, I feel like, done a pretty good job of it, to be honest. So now it's just going to come down to probably endgame. I mean, it seems like this group here is more or less alive. This one's gotten a base as well, so they've, I think, done a pretty good job of it. Um, yeah, but there are definitely still complications to be had. So okay, so black connects. Now white needs to probably connect these up, presumably. Yep. So now black has secured their points here, but white also has no weaknesses, so it looks like it's just going to come down to some sort of endgame. Okay, so white is trying to make the points on the side here. I think black probably wants to play a move like this. Just turn here, try to get some, try to break in here. I don't really know what white's next move is. I mean, this seems like the natural one, but it doesn't feel great because black gets a pretty nice shape here. So black is now taking his time. Let's see what he does. Okay, so made a move over here. Interesting. I guess there is, I was not expecting that one. I was expecting him to come out over here. What does this move do exactly? I mean, he's trying to aim for a cut here, but I don't really see it. Sends here to take some points. So I was looking at this Hane, but like I said, I don't really think it works. So I don't really know what black is aiming for here with this move. I guess he's just trying to secure himself because he's not that strong, is maybe the reasoning. Now he goes here with the idea being, okay, if you want to do something like that, I can cut you off and maybe go for some sort of pretty sharp attack. Now, whether or not that actually works is a different question. So white is going to take a base and try to make some points. Um, so we'll see what happens here. Sorry, my commentary is not very great right now because I'm still coordinating to make sure everything is going to work because I think that's pretty important at this point, given the struggles we've had. So I'll try to commentate when I can. Okay, so yeah, black is really trying to take it with base here, and it's looking pretty bad for white, to be honest. I'm not seeing a clear way for him to live, but the AI seems to think that it's certainly possible. So this is a ko here. So that'll definitely give him a second eye if he can make it happen. That push is pretty big on the bottom. If white doesn't block, then black's going to just push through. So let's take a look at what happens. If this happens, I don't think white's going to die here, but it's not great for the shape down here, right? And maybe even could die actually in this case. So I think white does need to respond to this. Wow, but he does end up fixing up top anyways, which is, oof, yeah, that's a choice to be made for sure. So now black seems to have a pretty strong advantage. So yeah, very nice move sequence up here. Now I'm not sure how white's going to live here, but has to find some resourceful moves to try to live. Okay, he's playing on the other side actually. Oh, interesting. He's trying to create some counterplay, right? Saying, okay, if you do something like this, I can cut you off, and if you want to keep everything connected, it's going to be difficult. Yeah, maybe this doesn't actually quite work because black can go here. It's kind of hard to tell, but there definitely is some push cuts shenanigans going on here. Even this into that looks pretty strong for black for white. So maybe there is a room for something to happen. I don't think black can. Yeah, I can't block this. That's what I thought. It's forced to take. So now white has this cut and this extension. So a lot of counterplay left at this point. Okay, let's proceed here. Because there, I mean, as black, I'm thinking, yeah, some sort of fixing move here. Wow, that move's really that bad. I wonder why. I'm not seeing it immediately. Oh, I see, because this part isn't quite alive yet. So now white takes, and then black fixes, and then what? How does white end up living over here? There must be some move that will work here, but yeah, it's not so clear. Goes there. I see. Then he's giving himself the opportunity to cut here maybe at some point later. Takes. All of a sudden, wait, was there a really bad move played somewhere? There's that take. Interesting. So why is this so bad? I mean, it seems natural to me. Maybe he's supposed to fix here and then make with black. Oops. Make black take and then come over here. That might have been it. Wow, yeah. So it seems like a pretty big mistake from white all of a sudden. It's gonna be hard to live here. Tricky, tricky spot. Seems like my cam is flipped again. It is. Sorry about that. Let me go try to fix it. Okay, should be fixed, I think. Seems like while I was gone, some other moves happened. Yeah, it's just tough with these time settings. One mistake kind of cost him the game here. -10 over here. But the thing is, I don't know, even if he doesn't make that mistake, I'm not really sure where he would play. Like, I'm personally not seeing it. Like, where would actually white play here? Block? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing it, to be honest. So, a little bit confusing for me because I'm just not seeing it. But now it feels like white just doesn't have enough points. It's a tough game. I guess his only hope maybe is to try to kill this and then get some points in the center. But yeah, I mean that corner kill is just way too big, unfortunately. Okay, blocks here. I feel like a cross cut is not bad here. Right, if he cuts, then yeah, not really sure what black has here. It just doesn't look great, regardless of what he plays. Timeout. Hopefully it's not a lag issue. But I'll check with the players. I think the game was pretty much over anyways. But just give me a second. Hi everyone. So yeah, um, hard decision, but we're gonna stop the event here because yeah, there's just too many issues. Actually, maybe I can jump to the interview scene so you guys can see me. Yeah, very sorry about this. Yeah, it just there's too many issues that we can't solve at the present moment. So um, apologies for everybody watching, for the players as well, and everybody that came together to make this happen. So we'll try to do better next time. Um, and yeah, I hope that you'll tune in at that point and give us another chance as well. So thank you for everybody that tuned in.